Hello, it's me. I'm sitting on the floor in the bedroom because the weather took a turn for the worse today and the living room is really dark for filming. So I want to make sure that you guys can actually see what I'm doing. Today I'm going to be working on a scrap buster project. I know that you guys seem to like those things, which is cool. Been quite a few views on my other scrap buster project, which you can go watch here if you want to. But maybe watch this one first and then get onto that one. It's warming up here in Australia, so we're going into summer, and that means being outside a bit more and going for walks with friends and stuff. And also it means that you need to keep your water intake up. And so this tutorial is inspired by my good friend Marion, who one night rocked up to the pub and had this giant water bottle with her that she just was like clutching around like a little baby. And I was like, you know what, maybe she could benefit from a drink bottle holder. So that's what I'm going to be making today. I'm not going to be using any maths for this project if you're worried about circles and circumferences and all of that lovely geometry stuff. I'm just going to be taking measurements from my two water bottles that I use the most. This is a metal one and this is my one that I use for cycling sometimes. I just want it to be flexible enough so that if I, for some reason, don't have this with me, I can take this one with me for a walk, just as like a little drink bottle pouch. The stuff I'm using today is this scrap of fabric left over from pants that I made like an absolute century ago. And then earlier today I went to Spotlight and I picked up some of this sort of braided stuff, which is pretty cool. So I have 1.5 meters of that, I think. And I'm also going to be using some of these hinged rings. But I'll explain more about that a bit later. If I have enough fabric and enough time, I'm gonna also make a little phone pouch, but I'm not sure because I want to go for a run this afternoon as well. So as per usual, I have put a lot on my plate. Anyway, let's get into it. So I'm gonna get my cutting mat, and the basic plan for this thing is that it's gonna be a cylinder with a little base in a little circular base in the bottom. And I just realized I forgot my fabric pen. Can you see me? Can you hear me? That's more important. So I'm just gonna get my scrap of fabric. I'm gonna make everything a double layer so that it's just got like a little bit more structure to it. This is a project that you could do even if you don't have a sewing machine. You could hand stitch this, it would not take very long at all. So I wanna have 2 layers of everything. So that includes 2 layers of the bottom piece. So what I'm going to do is fold it in half and just kind of find a little spot at the end of my fabric where I think it's going to work the best. And between these 2 water bottles, I think the plastic one is kind of just like a little bit wider, so I'm going to use that as a bit of a stencil. I'm just going to fold over what I need because you never know when you need just a small scrap of anything. That's going to be my circle template. I'm just going to trace around that with my fabric pen. You can just use a pencil, whatever you think works. Just make sure it's on the wrong side of your fabric. Lovely. And now I'm going to add just like, I don't know, maybe 1/2 inch of seam allowance. So this tape here seems that it's 1/2 inch. So I'm just going to use that as my guide because I can't be bothered to use anything else right now. Hopefully this takes me less than an hour. Oh, if it does, then that'd be great. That means I'd have time to go for a run. Alright, I'm just going to sketch that around. If you're not confident sketching lines, then just go and find a dish in your kitchen, plate or cup or something. So that's going to be my seam allowance. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut those out. I'm going to use my rotary cutter. It doesn't really matter if you have a rotary cutter or not. Amazing. Okay, so those other 2 base pieces Very nice. Very nice. I don't think one layer of this is going to be strong enough. So I want to make it double. And what I'm going to do is fold it over just like this. That's just where like a really nice strong fold is at the moment. Rather than doing maths with the circles, all I'm going to do is take my water bottle. I'm going to mark with some tape. You can mark with a pen if you don't care about drawing on your water bottle, but I don't advocate for like defacing your own goods. So I'm just going to put a bit of tape on the bottle, just like that. And I'm just going to mark a point just for the sake of the video. For the sake of you guys playing at home. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mark on my fabric. So this scrap has a bit of a curve on it because it was used for pants, a pair of trousers. So I'm just going to put a mark at my fold over there. And I'm going to line up my piece of masking tape. This is actually really handy with a clear water bottle. And then I'm just going to roll my water bottle all the way back over itself until I get to the piece of tape. Make a little mark. That's going to be the circumference of the water bottle, which is great. But we need to add seam allowance and then also a little bit of give just so that the water bottle can get in and out easily. So I'm going to do the same as what I did for the base pieces. I'm just going to do 1/2 inch of seam allowance. So that means I'm going to add a whole inch from this upper marking because I'm going to cut that piece off so that it's nice and straight. Let's do that first. If you haven't watched my other scrap buster video, then you'll know that I advocate for using a cutting mat in this sort of scenario because it's really easy to line up the markings and get a straight cut very easily without having to measure too many times. You just use the lines of the mat as a guide. There we go. So then I'm going to add, as I said, I'm going to add an inch. I'm going to add 1.5 inches just to make it extra roomy inside this water bottle holder. I can always take it in later if I need to. So that's my mark there. I'm going to line up my ruler, and I'm just going to mark that off. What I definitely should have done before is measured the height, because now I feel like I'm wasting a whole bunch of fabric. Oh well. Oh well. And so my metal bottle is taller than my other bottle, but I don't want it to be like, I think I'm just gonna go to like there. So kind of where this fold is already. And I'm gonna add some seam allowance though. So it's kind of like where this fold is, and I'm just going to add 1/2 inch. And trim that off. Lovely. Another little scrappy doodah. Okay, and that's the basis for everything. What am I trying to say? I don't think I can do it any sneaky way to get this kind of to be folded out with the seam on the side and everything enclosed. I'm going to fold it long ways and just stitch along here and then fold it back out and then stitch it to the base. I'm just using white thread. So I just stitched that along the long edge. Something very weird going on with my bobbin. I'm not going to even worry about it. And I'm just going to fold everything the right way up. Not everything, I'm only going to fold it halfway the right way up. I feel like I fucked this up already. And I almost got a pattern match. almost. So I'm going to call this my outside because I want my little fans facing upwards rather than being like scales of a fish. And so this is going to be my right side and this is going to be my wrong side. So I'm going to turn it inside out, and next I'm going to attach my base pieces, but before I do that I'm going to actually baste these two together just to hold them in place while I stitch it to the rest. After much ado, I've successfully basted this piece, and now I'm going to attach it to the base. And what I'm going to do is get my cylinder, the raw edge of my cylinder, and I'm going to put my circle inside, and then I'm going to stitch. I'm going to put it inside. Did you see me do that? I'm going to put it inside, and then I'm going to stitch half an inch all the way around the edge, and then we'll have a finished cylinder, and then it'll be time to put on the strap. I stuffed this up the first time I did it, but I'm going to show you how I fixed it. I'm about to run out of battery, and I definitely stuffed this up. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's not great though. I might have to redo this, and then I'll come back and show you how I'm going to do the strap. In the meantime, I'm going to charge the battery. And what I'm doing now is I'm just gently pulling on the stitches that I did when I basted it so that it kind of eases it all around along this line here. In other words, I should have just done an ease stitch so that I don't end up with those puckers like I did before. You can even see that as I pull this through, it starts to have a bit of shape as well. And that'll help me stitch it. And then with that kind of smooshed up all together, it should fit inside this edge a little easier rather than bunching too much before I stitch it. I'm also going to stitch where I can actually see the line that I made before, which is kind of important. I was really off the line on some parts when I did it the first time around. Anyway, we all learn that basting is probably more important than we want to accept. So I just stitched it in. Now we'll turn it back out and see what it looks like. It's not bad. It's not bad. There are a couple of puckers. I don't really care because most of the time I'm going to be walking very fast. When I go for an exercise walk, I'm a fast walker. Don't know about you guys. Now we have the little cylinder. I did check with the bottle earlier. It's still in the other room. And now I'm going to do the straps. So what I'm going to do, rather than just stitch it on and take it over, you know the drill, and just have a strap that runs over the top, which you can do. If you want to do that, go ahead. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to make a little loop at either end. I'm going to put a little loop on each side like this, and then I'm also going to make a strap that has loops on the end. And then what I'm going to do is get one of my rings. These have a hinge in them, so you can undo them and put them back together, which is very handy. And then I'm going to clip it on to the little thing like that. And then that way, if I need to wash the thing, I can take it off easily from the strap. Also means that if I want to put my keys on there, I can. Also means that when I make a little phone pouch, I can also just clip the phone pouch onto here, or I can use just the strap with the phone pouch without the drink bottle holder. So the strap's done, and I'm just going to put the loops on to the actual drink bottle holder. I'm going to put it so that you can kind of see it from the outside, and I'm just going to tuck in the ends. You can see this little end here, and this little end here. I'm just going to tuck those in and stitch along the top. This little project turned out exactly how I had it in my head. It fits my water bottle perfectly, and it makes carrying water around just really handy. And I'm happy to say it took less than an hour to make, and I got to go for a run. Also, it's very, very handy. It's very handy indeed for when I don't have pockets in my activewear. I can carry my keys too. Please let me know if you follow this tutorial. I would love to hear your feedback, and I want to see the things that you guys make, so share them with me. As always, if you found this video useful or entertaining or helpful or just a nice time, then please subscribe. It really, really does mean a lot to me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye!